The Lost Generation. Although occurring over a century ago, the Lost Generation bears striking resemblances to contemporary times. Coming of age amidst war, a pandemic, economic hardships, and shifting social landscapes, young individuals of that era faced immense challenges. World War I left a devastating impact. Over 70 million people were enlisted, resulting in 8.5 million deaths, 21 million wounded, and 2 million soldiers succumbed to diseases. Furthermore, the Spanish flu pandemic from 1918 to 1920 inflicted widespread suffering, with estimates ranging from 17 to 50 million deaths globally, and some reports even suggesting figures as high as 100 million. Following the war and the pandemic, the global economy plummeted, precipitating the onset of the Great Depression during the 1930s. This era was marked by soaring unemployment rates, widespread poverty, and a prevailing sense of despair. Concurrently, popular culture burgeoned through early cinema and magazines, offering solace amidst the grim realities of life. The year 1920 saw a pivotal moment with the granting of voting rights to women, while new professional avenues expanded for unmarried women, many of whom were widowed by the war. Notably, this period witnessed the emergence of the flapper, a new archetype in popular culture characterized by defiance against societal norms and a penchant for revelry. Today, the resilience and endurance of the Lost Generation amidst such adversity are revered, with some suggesting that their experiences offer valuable insights into contemporary and future epochs. The Greatest Generation, also recognized as the World War II generation, they are commemorated for their bravery, technological advancements, and economic prosperity. The youth of that era witnessed the proliferation and normalization of numerous innovations, such as the radio, telephone, and automobile. During this period in America, there was a flourishing of culture and entertainment, known as the Golden Age of Hollywood. Various art forms, such as literature, cinema, and music thrived, with genres like gangster films, musicals, and comics gaining widespread popularity. Music genres like jazz, blues, and swing dominated the scene. The rise of radio allowed President Roosevelt's fireside chats to engage millions, while World War II saw 16 million Americans serving with significant casualties. Surprisingly, as of 2023, nearly 120,000 veterans from the war are still alive. The Silent Generation. The Silent Generation was brought up in the aftermath of World War II, where they witnessed the downfall of Nazism and the rise of communism. Growing into adulthood during the post-war era, they faced a world in turmoil, characterized by the Soviet Union's breach of post-war agreements and ongoing geopolitical tensions. The Silent Generation preferred to operate within the existing societal framework, influenced by the golden age of radio, the emergence of labor unions, and breakthroughs like transatlantic flight and penicillin. They embraced values of diligence and resilience. This cohort tended to marry early and prioritize stability, although their aversion to risk would later be tested by the advent of more progressive and radical ideologies. Baby Boomers. Baby Boomers are widely regarded as one of the most influential generations in recent history, marking a period of intense activity in America. Born throughout the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, Baby Boomers witnessed an unprecedented surge in birth rates, totaling a staggering 76 million births during this time frame. This demographic explosion can be attributed to the robust post-war economy, which bolstered Americans' confidence in their capacity to support larger families. Moreover, baby boomers wielded significant economic influence, emerging as a crucial marketing demographic for a plethora of products tailored to their age group, spanning from toys to records. This era also witnessed the widespread production and accessibility of once-exclusive items such as laundry machines, dishwashers, refrigerators, and telephones, granting the average American a lifestyle akin to the upper class of previous generations. Technological advancements, ranging from plastics to integrated circuits, played a pivotal role in elevating the standard of living. Amidst this era of optimism, a cultural renaissance ensued, particularly in the music industry, with iconic artists like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, and the Rolling Stones captivating audiences worldwide. However, it's imperative to acknowledge that this period was not devoid of challenges. Major political debates surfaced on various fronts, including the sexual revolution, civil rights, nuclear arms, ethnocultural diversity, and environmental conservation. The baby boomer generation notably adopted more radical stances, advocating for left-leaning social causes and sparking significant protests, notably during the Vietnam War era. These differing ideologies led to widespread political discord and increasingly violent demonstrations, fostering societal divisions and nurturing distrust in subsequent generations toward the government. Generation X. This generation is often dubbed the latchkey generation, a term derived from the experience of children returning home from school to an empty house and having to use a key to enter. This phenomenon arose due to several societal shifts, including rising divorce rates, increased maternal involvement in the workforce, and the availability of childcare options beyond the home. Young adults of this era were also known as the MTV generation, sometimes characterized as apathetic, cynical, and disenchanted. This generation experienced a decline in births. Factors contributing to this decline included the introduction of the birth control pill in 1960 and the legalization of abortion in 1973. However, demographic changes brought about by the 1965 Immigration Act partially offset these declining birth rates, leading to greater cultural and ethnic diversity in America than ever before. Musically, the Gen X era witnessed the emergence of alternative rock, hip-hop, punk, post-punk, and heavy metal bands. This period also saw significant technological advancements, with companies like Apple, Commodore, and Atari competing in the growing home computing market. Video games became a booming industry during the 1970s and 1980s, with arcades gaining widespread popularity. Compared to the baby boomers, Generation Xers were more likely to pursue higher education, with college enrollment becoming increasingly common. Individualism and entrepreneurship became defining characteristics of this generation, laying the groundwork for the establishment of major tech companies such as Google, Wikipedia, Amazon, and YouTube in the 1990s and early 2000s. Generation Y millennials represent the inaugural generation to mature in a world heavily influenced by the internet, mobile technology, and social media. Often lauded as the premier global cohort, they are more interconnected with the world than any preceding generation. However, they have also been labeled as the unluckiest generation, grappling with sluggish economic growth since entering the workforce, compounded by the weight of substantial student debt and childcare expenses. Born during a period of declining global fertility rates, millennials are opting to have fewer children than their predecessors. They have faced criticism for engaging in less sexual activity compared to earlier generations. Despite the United States experiencing a record low unemployment rate of 19% in 2010, millennials have encountered economic hurdles, leading to heightened youth poverty, unemployment rates, and a significant portion living with their parents. Furthermore, millennials demonstrate lower religious affiliation compared to previous generations. Although many still identify as spiritual, they navigated through the cultural shift following the 9/11 attacks, which ushered in the era of the war on terrorism. Despite these obstacles, millennials are commended for their adeptness in digital technology, diverse perspectives, and strong social consciousness. They are actively engaged in social and political spheres, fearlessly voicing their opinions. Despite economic adversities, more than 8 out of 10 millennials express confidence in their financial situations, indicative of their generally optimistic outlook on navigating a complex world. Generation Z Zoomers also recognized as Generation Z, exhibit similarities with millennials, yet notable distinctions exist. While millennials encountered the internet and smartphones during their developmental years and witnessed rapid societal transformations, Zoomers were born into a digitally saturated environment. They have matured amidst a proliferation of social justice movements, the rise of a polarized American political atmosphere catalyzed by figures like Donald Trump, and significant occurrences such as the Black Lives Matter protests and the COVID-19 pandemic. Moreover, Zoomers have been heavily influenced by the expanding attention and dopamine-driven economy propelled by platforms like YouTube and TikTok. These platforms not only alter how information is consumed, but also determine which content reaches the public eye. Even seemingly trivial elements like memes, which originated as millennial jokes, have evolved into potent instruments for spreading and popularizing ideas. Individualism epitomizes the Zoomer ethos, as they embrace entrepreneurial ventures reminiscent of Generation X. The internet has facilitated the proliferation of freelance and gig economy opportunities, revolutionizing traditional employment structures. Remote work made feasible by technological advancements has become increasingly prevalent, challenging the traditional notion of office-based employment. Furthermore, social media trends exert considerable influence over culture, with individuals capable of amassing attention rivaling that of conventional media outlets. This paradigm shift has engendered new job prospects in social media content creation and influencer marketing, coveted fields among Zoomers. Additionally, Zoomers have been shaped by cultural phenomena like SpongeBob SquarePants, which has profoundly influenced cultural norms and values, arguably more than any other influence in recent memory. Generation Alpha Little is known about the prospects of Generation Alpha, who are predominantly being nurtured by millennials. Predicting their trajectory is a daunting task, given the uncertainties that lie ahead. Termed by some as the pandemic generation, Generation Alpha has experienced the ramifications of the pandemic from a tender age and is growing up in a swiftly evolving world, particularly in terms of technological advancements, notably in education and entertainment. Many refer to Generation Alpha as the iPad kids because they spend less time with their parents on average compared to preceding generations, preferring more independent and self-directed lifestyles. Raised in an era where the internet has been a ubiquitous presence for over 2 decades, they are poised to transition into young adulthood in the 2030s. The United Nations predicts that Generation Alpha will boast a global average lifespan of 83 years. However, they are anticipated to grapple with challenges such as mental health issues, misinformation, and societal polarization. Nevertheless, the precise trajectory of their future remains uncertain.